glad to have you join us here once again. In this video, we're going to be covering how to connect to your Timescale database instances via the terminal. We're actually going to be looking at 3 different methods in this video. The first is how to connect to a Timescale cloud database instance. The second is how to connect to a Docker container Timescale instance via your local terminal. And then the third is how to connect to a Docker container instance via the container itself. So the third option and the second Docker option, which is the third option, is leveraging the connection tools in the container itself. So you don't have to have any additional tooling if you do go with that method. Also, we bookmarked each of the methods so you can jump around to whichever one suits your needs. Though it is good to note, caveat, that for the first 2 methods, so the cloud method or the first Docker method, since you connect to the databases via your local terminal, you do have to have pSQL command line tools installed. If you're not sure if you have them installed or you don't have them installed, honestly, the easiest way to do it is actually just downloading and installing Postgres on your local machine. It comes with all the tooling and a bunch of other awesome stuff because it's Postgres. And we included a link, so check out this attached link if you want to get started with Postgres and you want to have it all installed and everything like that. So let's jump right on into the first method and look at how to connect to a Timescale cloud database instance via the local terminal. Let's go. So first, we're going to start off at the Timescale Cloud website. So let's go ahead and sign in using our credentials. Going to go ahead and do that. Okay. And then once you sign in, you should be able to see all of your active database instances like mine here. I only have one. If you follow the tutorial, you'll probably only have one too. So we can just go ahead and select that. And then this default page that comes up shows all the information, pretty much all the information that we need to connect to our Timescale cloud instance. The only information that's missing is the password for our database. So if you can't find your password or if you lost it, don't fret. You can reset it. So if you go over to the operations tab here and you select this reset password button, you can super easily reset your password. I saved mine off, which hopefully you saved yours off too, so you don't have to. But just if you did lose it, no worries. So now that we have all of our awesome information available, now we could create our Postgres connection string with like the basic Postgres format, but Timescale's got your back. We actually conveniently put in this how to connect button. So if we click on that and we choose the I have pSQL installed, which hopefully you got Postgres installed, so you have pSQL installed locally, we can just copy this code string provided, and which includes all of our database information already by default in there, which is really convenient. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy that, head on over to my terminal and just slap that on in there, press enter. And now we just need to put in our password. So hopefully you have that, and boom, we are in. We're in just like that. Super easy. And what's cool is that if you notice the how to connect, that button, I'll go back there. This other option does actually provide information on how to get pSQL installed or Postgres installed too. So that's super convenient if in the future you're using a machine that doesn't have pSQL installed. We provide that info too. So good stuff. All right, so moving on to the second method, how to connect to a Docker container Timescale database instance via your local terminal. Let's look in. So in a previous video, we went through how to create a TimescaleDB Docker container instance, and we used this code, if you remember. And why I wanted to show this code is 1, for the password, but also 2, for the port that I use, my host and port values that I use to create my Docker container, which for me was my local host, which is that 127 number, and then my local port value, which is 5432. So in order to connect to my container, I need those two pieces of information. So I'm just going to use this command to connect to my container, which I call the psql command. The -p is my port, so I'm going to put in my 5432. The -h is my local host value, so that's the host that I'm connecting with. And then -u, which is just the Postgres user, which is by default going to be Postgres. So go ahead and put that in, commit that. And now I just need my password, which in this case, password, very easy. And boom, we're in. We are connected from our local terminal. And the last method, but not least, is how to connect to your Docker container timescale database instance using the container itself. So let's get right into it. So in order to access the container in this way, we need to use the following code within our local terminal. So this will essentially allow us to treat our own terminal like the terminal within the container, which is super cool. So here I'm just running the Docker exec command, which allows us to run commands within an already running container, which in our case is true. And then the IT option just specifies that we want to open up a terminal session for our container through our local container. Then I'm just naming the container that I want to connect to, which in our case was TimescaleDB. And then the psql-u Postgres is the code that we're executing within our containers terminal to connect us to the database within the container. So it runs that psql-u Postgres code. And from there, you can create tables and add data and all that good stuff. We are connected and ready to go. So now that we can connect to our databases, this means that we can create tables, ingest data, actually use the super cool Postgres and TimescaleDB functionality, right? And we have videos coming your way soon on all of this awesome functionality and how to do it all. So if you want to make sure that you don't miss any of those sweet videos coming at you or anything out of TimescaleDB, make sure to smash that subscribe button. And if this video was helpful or useful or entertaining or, whatever, we always appreciate likes and comments below. I really hope that this video was helpful for anyone wanting to connect to their database through the terminal. If you want to also connect to your databases via third-party tools, we actually have a video on that as well. So make sure to check that out if you're looking to do that. We thank you so much for spending your time with us today, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day and happy coding.